Thanks, Janet. I appreciate it greatly. Ladies, great to see you again. Janet, it's always great to see you. I'm glad we're able to reconnect, my friend. For those who don't know me, my name is 𝐾𝐨 Middleton. I have been what I call alcohol conscious for almost 8 years now, and I am the author of a book called Bamboozled. So I'll walk you through my journey, what alcohol consciousness means, and where I am today, and what I hope to hopefully provide and the value I provide to give people through my story and the book that I wrote. But my journey probably started, I would say, back in college, as most of us did. For those who haven't heard this story before, I was somebody in college that I wasn't really shy, but I wasn't the most outgoing person either. I was that probably in the middle person, and I always felt like there was a more fun person inside of me that of course could reveal himself if given the opportunity. Great. Thanks, Lucy. Happy anniversary for you as well, 8 years. And then, as most of us know, if you're a shy college kid, the thing that's going to give you the courage that you didn't have otherwise is going to be alcohol. So, the very first time that I was introduced to alcohol, I was 19 years old. I hadn't drank a drop of alcohol before then. And it was the answer to all my prayers. It made me the person that I thought I was the whole time. I was able to talk to the opposite sex. I was very funny around the guys and the females, everything that I wanted to do. And the person I felt like I was, boom, that was what alcohol gave me. It just gave me that courage. So I go through 4 years of college, have a great time, and then I actually got a job in sales. And I always use the statement of the quote, Janet's given some of my quotes is, if you ever think that college is your undergrad in drinking, getting a career in sales will be your master's, because marketing and sales is so much about interacting with people, schmoozing the clients, and drinking was just what we did. It wasn't the job, but it was part of the job. And that my relationship with alcohol just matriculated over those years. And what happened, and this is why I think part of the reason me and Janet just get together so well, it wasn't that my life was bad as a result of drinking. My life was actually fairly good. I was making good money. I was succeeding within my company. I was a director in the leadership position with my company, and was seeing very, I think, strong sense of success, and never looked at alcohol as being a problem. But what the reason that I started looking at myself had to do with that desire to level up. As Janet shared, for me, it wasn't about, hey, things were going wrong. It was about, once again, if you look at where I was in college and where I was now at that time, as a 36, 37-year-old adult male, there was another level inside of me that I was missing. Whereas in college, I felt like I needed alcohol to bring it out. When became the age of 38, I thought I recognized that it was alcohol that was probably holding me back from becoming that person. And the reality is, the reason I came to that realization is that I had left my company and I wanted to start my own entrepreneurship journey. As for anyone who's ever tried to start anything from an entrepreneurship perspective, you think it's going to be easy for whatever reason, I don't know, but it is the most challenging thing, one of the most challenging things that I think anyone can do, right? And I just recognized about how hard I was working, 70, 80 hours a week, wasn't seeing the success that I wanted to. I just recognized that, hey, maybe if I didn't go out Tuesday night, Thursday night, and Saturday night and drink and stay out till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, maybe that next day will be a bit more productive than what it's being for what I'm doing. So I said, hey, I might go back to corporate America, but I don't want to go back to corporate America without saying I have given it 100%. And I just knew there was always something in the back of my mind letting me know that alcohol is holding you back. You're not being the person that you can be. What if you give this a chance to see what your life could be without it? So I just told my wife, I was like, babe, I don't know if how long I'm not going to drink, but I just want to try not drinking for 90 days. I just want to try it out. I feel like I can focus more on my business. I won't have anything distracting me, and let's see what it can do. And I tell everyone, the big eye opener was I made more money in those next 90 days than I had made in the previous 9 months, right? Now, could that be a coincidence? Maybe, but there was correlation there in some respect that I had to think, something was there. Of course, 90 days turns into 6 months. My sleep is better, exercise is better, diet is better, everything is better. And then 6 months turns into a year. And if for me, it was just my life. And I was talking to Janet before this call that it was the reality of stop drinking alcohol for me wasn't the end of anything. It was actually the beginning. And it was the beginning of what I call my wellness journey of how do I then invest in myself to be the very best version that I could be. And it was, hey, my sleep is a little better now because I'm not drinking. What are the other things that I'm not doing that's hurting my sleep? And I started focusing on taking magnesium. Started focusing on blackout curtains. I started focusing on not drinking caffeine too late. All of these things that help you get better sleep that then in turn helps you become more productive the next day. My diet began improving. So then I began to focus on what are the foods I can eat. And so this journey over time had just made me say, how do I build the best version of myself? And I coined the term alcohol consciousness. And the reason I use that term is, and this is also the reason I wrote the book, because I don't believe that you should have to have a problem with alcohol to stop drinking. I believe that you just should decide, is drinking serving you? And if it's not, being confident making a decision that it's not, in the same way people are conscious of their health. So because it's a health conscious thing. So if you're health conscious, you don't want to eat fried food. You try not to drink a bunch of soda. There's all these and eat a bunch of sugar. There's all these things you do that has nothing to do with you being addicted to it. It's the same thing with alcohol. You're alcohol conscious because you're saying that, hey, I just recognize that there is a better version that I could live without this encumbering me. Why do I say I don't want to do it? Absolutely. How do I live my life as a result of that? And that is why I wrote Bamboozled. That was why I started the publication Ain't of Alcohol Is Not Your Friend. And that is why I just started understanding that there is more people that need to hear this message than who are currently hearing it. As I think all of you did, when I stopped drinking, I started reading all the books out there. Annie Grace's This Naked Mind, Craig Porter's Alcohol Lied to Me, William Porter's Alcohol, Craig Beck's Alcohol Lied to Me, William Porter's Alcohol Explained. And I just really started to, a lot of stories, great stories, helped out tremendously. However, what I recognize is that I felt like a lot of them were saying I hit rock bottom or alcohol was hurting me so much and blah, 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 blah. There weren't so many of them that was just saying, hey, here's all the science where it just shows you alcohol is destroying you. Not that it's making your life terrible, but it's definitely hurting you in a number of ways. Why don't you look at that? And then, by the way, there's all these other things you can do if you get alcohol out of your life. And so, and I want to say, I think I started writing Bamboozled around May of 2023, if I'm remembering, or May of 2022, around my 42nd birthday, I started writing it. And it took me about a year and some change to write the book. January of 2022. Yep. Finished it in December of 2022. And it was published in April of 2023. And it just took that was when I was in that age, around that time. I had not been drinking for a couple of years. I just had so many ideas around and learned so much around the science of alcohol and the concept of endorphins and dynorphins and your amygdala and all these different ways that alcohol was affecting you, that I just wanted to educate people on. I don't care if you don't drink. It doesn't bother me at all. It's your decision if you want to do it or not. I just want people to be aware of, if you do make the decision to drink, here are all the trade-offs you're making. And that was what Bamboozled is all about. Like how alcohol makes fools of us all is that a lot of people do not recognize that they think alcohol is helping them. And there's a sect, I would say, when you're in college and you're trying to kind of find out who you are, like there may be some credence to say maybe there is a time in your life that you should drink. I don't prescribe to you should never drink, but I do think there's a definite timing or point in your life where any benefits that you may be receiving from alcohol versus the negative effects of it, they start to outweigh. And the negative effects of how much alcohol is hurting you as you get older, it more heavily becomes negative versus younger. So I wrote the book to educate as many people as I can. And at the end of the day, alcohol consciousness, once again, isn't about not drinking. It's about being aware of what alcohol is doing to you and then making the decision to drink or not drink with that awareness forefront and understanding. And yeah, and that's what my big story is. And what I try to press upon people today is around there's a greater version inside of you. Give alcohol consciousness a chance and give it 90 days. And I'd say after 90 days, if you feel like your life was better with alcohol than without it, you go back to drinking. That's your decision. Nothing wrong. But at least you will know that is the truth as opposed to never knowing. And that's where we are today.